Let's start with Clemson at Texas. Texas is an 11 and a half point favorite, and the over under on this one is going to be 51 and a half. Clemson coming off a win against SMU in the ACC title game, and Texas is coming off that loss to Georgia. It's going to be in Texas. Austin will be loud. It'll be packed. You look at it, what got us here? Well, Texas 0-2 against ranked teams. Both of those losses being to Georgia. Didn't have any other ranked teams on the schedule. Clemson is 1-2 against ranked teams. They beat SMU last week, like we talked about. They got blown out by Georgia week 1, and then South Carolina they lost to in the last week of the season by 3 points at the very end. Their third loss is going to be to Louisville, who's like ranked team approximate. You know, they're almost there. I think they're 8-4, probably around the number 30 team if they got ranked that far out. So one common opponent. Both of them lost to Georgia. Clemson, it was week 1, but they got absolutely torched. Texas played a couple of solid games with them. What's something that stands out to you in this matchup?
Yeah, I think the main matchup here is going to be McKay Klubnik versus Quinn Ewers. We've been talking a fair amount how we just don't view Quinn Ewers as a big game quarterback. He can lead the Texas offense efficiently. The Texas offense has been solid this season. They're 24th in points per game, putting up about 34, and they're 15th in yards per game, putting up about 450 yards per game. So it's a very solid, effective offense. That being said, it's kind of come against the weaker side of the SEC. So how much stock do you put into that? When they went up against their big matchup against Georgia, that offense pretty much got shut down both times. So flip side of the ball, when it comes to Clemson, they also have had an effective offense for pretty much the entirety of the season here. K. Klubnik has been efficient, man. Has the lowest interception rate in the country, and they're putting up about similar 34 points per game and 450 yards per game. So statistically, these offenses are extremely similar. One in the ACC, so you don't know how much to trust that, and one against the lower end of the SEC, so you don't know how much to trust that. So, but truthfully, I do think the matchup comes between the quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers versus Kate Klubnik. If Kate Klubnik can outperform Quinn Ewers by a wide margin, then I think Clemson has a chance in this game.
You look at it, the offense is statistically pretty similar. Maybe you want to ride with the star power of Texas and their ability to go make plays on the outside with their wide receivers like Isaiah Bond. But you look at the defenses if you want to go there, because offenses look pretty similar. Well, there's a very stark difference in defenses. Texas is a no doubt top 5 defense in the country. Clemson is nothing special defensively. So you look at Texas, they gave up 12.5 points per game, number 2 in the country, 250 yards per game, again, number 2 in the country. They're the 6th best on third down, the 3rd best in the red zone. They're number 1 against the pass. They intercept the ball the 3rd most in the country, and they get the 10th most sacks in the country. Like, they get after it defensively. You look at that conversely for Clemson, and all their defensive statistics are anywhere from like 30th to 70th. They're all kind of middle of the pack, especially for a team that we're considering the number 12 team in the country against the relatively weak ACC schedule. So you look at that, clear advantage Texas here. So I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, okay, how can Clemson's offense get down the field against a very, very effective Texas defense? Well, to me, their best way is going to have to be to dink and dunk their way down the field. Like you said, Cade Klubnik doesn't throw picks. Very good job taking care of the ball. So Clemson, the problem, 63% pass completion. That's not bad, but it's number 48 in the country. And that's where Texas's defense is the worst. They allow 59% completion percentage, which is 46th in the country. So that's the one spot I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, Texas's defense is kind of, I guess, like not a weakness, but not a super, super strength. But Clemson doesn't look like they have an offense that can maybe take advantage of that, other than the fact that Cade Klubnik's going to be able to take care of the ball.
Yeah, truthfully, it's a big mismatch. Texas's defense is quite a bit better, in my opinion, than Clemson's offense. So if you're Clemson, you really have to rely on who's kind of been an okay quarterback for the entirety of his Clemson career. He's had a great, solid season. You really need that guy to have a hell of a game this upcoming Saturday. So if they're able to do that and, limit this Texas offense, maybe they have a chance. But Texas is just way too talented on both sides of the ball. I like Texas big in this one.
Yeah, I think Texas is going to take care of business, but if you look, you know, what are other areas I can look to see Clemson win here on, like maybe defensively or on the margins or something like that? Well, Texas number 106 in terms of red zone scoring percentage. So can you limit them to field goals? We saw it against Georgia, right? That's the blueprint. You let them score, you let them run up 250, 300 yards of offense and give up 6 points in the half. You can run for 700 yards. If you got 6 points at the half, I don't really care, right? So if you can limit them in the red zone, that's going to be huge. Also, forcing turnovers. We've seen Quinn Ewers be kind of turnover prone. Good news for Clemson. That's where they excel. They're the number 3 team in terms of turnover margin. They're plus 1.3 turnovers per game. Number 3 in the country, like I said. They average 2 takeaways per game. That's number 11 in the country. So if they can force Quinn Ewers to have to drop back and throw on 3rd and 8 a lot of times, maybe they can get something going there. Like we saw last week, they have a quality special teams. They had 2 big special teams plays against SMU last week that kind of set them up. So if Clemson is going to be able to do this, they're going to have to win on the margins. They're going to have to win on, splashy plays, right? Win in the red zone. Don't give up touchdowns. Win in the kicking game. Win on special teams. Win on the turnover margin. That's where they're going to be able to win this game, because I think if you just look at offense, defense, it very clearly tilts Texas.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. That's one way Clemson can win. The only other way I see is that Quinn Ewers turns into a pumpkin for a big game. So we've seen it multiple times. Maybe he does it again. I don't think the first round of playoffs is a big enough of a game for Quinn Ewers to not be solid. Like you said, Clemson's going to have to find a way to put up points on this Texas defense, and I just don't really see it happening. Texas's defense is just too good. So I like Texas to cover, and I like the under on this game as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on the under. I do like that. I like Clemson to cover 11.5. I actually have Texas winning this one 24-20, kind of a backdoor cover from Clemson. I think they probably score a touchdown late, kind of make it more interesting than the game actually was. Like I said, I just think their defense is going to be able to force a turnover. Their special teams will make a play or something that'll kind of keep them in the game and keep them around, and maybe we see the lack of eliteness from Texas's offense kind of be a problem.